Oh no,
Burn it for
last
me.
time I did it, the smoke alarm went off, but
Okay, let's not. And a ditto. Just kidding. No, I can't do that.
you just
But
say ditto for every question. Me too. Same.
also me.
You're gonna have a Egyptian tomb with all your
No,
stuff
that's
around
not
you.
happening. Maybe that's what I was in a past life. I'm like, no, it really does happen.
Hello, hello. Okay, here we are.
After
Welcome.
many technical difficulties.
Just took us 3 hours to figure out Kyla's audio situation on this, but here we are. And I think we've done it every single time we've recorded. So someday we'll be able to
Someday.
hop on lickety split. As you can tell, we are really feeling lovely today. It's the day that this will come out very, very far from this date, but in full disclosure, it's the day after Halloween. It's
Hmm.
a new moon
Today.
today, this morning, actually.
Hmm.
Energy is low. We were up late.
AG is real low.
Energy is low. We're going to do this. We're going to show up and we are going to.
Not wash our face or the tattoos left over from the day before, which I tried to get off, but it's still spotty on there. There's still tattoo like everywhere. It's cool.
You're beautiful. It does look a little like you have a lot of freckles on your forehead, but that's fine. Today, we for sure need to enter the portal. So I have my glasses ready. Do you?
I do. Okay, let's see. One, two, three. Yay!
Uh,
We are in
this
the same portal today.
basically what I wanted to do was I've been through a lot of change in the past year. You have also been through a lot and you have change like coming forward. It feels sort of energetically as if the world is sort of on the precipice of a lot of change. And so for this new moon, I received an email that was, and I'll read a little bit of it, but it was basically talking about how good of a moon this is for manifesting. And I think that we should really think about what it is that we're wanting to call in over the next 6 months or so, um, just to use the energy of this new moon to help us start to create some of that stuff that we want. Does that make sense?
Yes. And those are good questions for any new moon at any point.
Any new moon. Okay, so this email was from this woman, Jennifer Rasiopi, I think is how you say it, and she's an astrologer. And the the gist of it, you may not feel great right now, like, and to acknowledge that, like, it's important for you to tend to your health, the food you're eating, the sleep you're getting, all of that. Like, that is very important. But also don't waste this new moon. So she says, even with the tension in the cosmos and the need for exquisite self-care, this new moon offers fortification and a trine to Saturn. So please use it for manifesting. I can't say it enough. It's a great new moon to get clear on your needs and spiritually align with manifesting them into your existence. So I think we should focus it around that. Like, what are your needs? And what is it that you need to bring in to this moment so that you can continue moving forward?
Right.
Okay. So it is sort of like, yeah, we feel heavy. Okay, what do we need to feel better?
Okay, I'm going to sniff some frankincense.
Yes, that's
I
great.
don't have any Palo Santo to burn.
I'll burn that for you. Oh no,
Burn it for
last time
me.
I did it, the smoke alarm went off, but
Okay, let's not. Let's not today. We just can't have any more mishaps
I
this
just
morning.
need to burn it a small amount because
Small
that
amount.
smoke alarm is right above me.
It smells so good. Oh, I can ring a bell. I'll ring a bell.
Ring a bell.
Oh, I
Oh,
like that.
it does smell good. I can.
See, every time I do it.
So now the 3 questions that we are going to use to help us manifest in this moment.
When you read these, I feel like since this is going to come out way later
Yeah.
than anybody listens to this, so that it can be in alignment with wherever people are in their current moment in time.
Yeah.
I feel like these questions are good questions to ask regardless of when the moon phases.
Absolutely. I mean, especially at a new moon, but also the way it's framed in the email is like, ask yourselves these questions so that you can release things that are holding you back and prepare for the next season of life? So I think that these questions are really good questions for any point where you're feeling a big shift or a big change, any new moon, any time where it's like, I'm ready to let go of stuff and call something new in.
Hmm.
The questions are, I'm going to read them all three and then we'll go through them one at a time. So, question one, what are you grateful for? Question two, what are you releasing? And question three, what are you calling in? What am I grateful for? In this moment, what I feel most grateful for is that my life feels much more stable than it did even 6 months ago. So there is a consistency in relationships. Money feels a little bit more secure. Like there is just all of these things that I was like really worried about, thinking like, how is this all going to work out? It feels like things were really rocky and now they're stable. And that to me is really wonderful because it does feel like when my external surroundings feel more stable, then internally I have more space to expand and open because the outside feels safer for me to do that.
Yes, I would say I agree with what you just said
For
for you.
me. Okay. Yeah.
And a ditto. Just kidding. No, I can't do that.
You just
But
say ditto for every question. Me too. Same.
also me. Um,
That's fine. Yep. Yep.
that'll do, donkey. I would say, if my life, it feels very unsettled and chaotic. And I guess the gratitude is like sink or swim, you know? When I say sink or swim, it's kind of like you got to figure this out. And you're in a position where it's not like you're sick, it's not like you are incapable of doing your life. We're just going to continue to, we, universe, whatever, are going to continue to present to you the things that need to be dealt with so that you can raise the frequency of your own life in whatever capacity that looks like. I feel like it's very demanding right now,
Mm-hmm.
but my gratitude is I don't think it's unnecessarily demanding. It's like, hey, this is what you said you wanted. So we're going to expedite this decision that you're making. And here's all the things you need to do.
Right. It's like gratitude that the universe is like sort of pushing you along
It's
on
pushing
this
it.
path.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
really is. It's like I really do feel like it's responding to the request. Like, okay, that's what you said you wanted. So it's not, I don't even think it's a be careful what you wish for scenario. It's like, this is how this has to happen if you're gonna have this next experience in your life.
Yeah.
You have all of these ties, these loose ends, these things that need your attention that I could continue to put off until my death.
Yeah.
But I'm not, that's not what I'm wanting. So it's like, okay, well, deal with it, deal with it, deal with it, deal with this. So my gratitude is I feel supported. It feels overwhelming, but I do feel supported. Like, okay, all this is gonna happen and I'm gonna be tired and I can still do it. Like I do feel that.
Yes.
So
Ditto. No, I
ditto.
agree. I feel like that is so true. It's like there is so much that you're doing now, but it is all in service of you, your whole family, like getting momentum and movement and moving into whatever that next phase of life looks like. It's just a lot of work to get
It's
there
a lot
because
of work.
of course it is because you're very rooted in this life, this that you've already created. And so there is a lot of like, okay, well, now we've got to cut some of these cords, clean some of this up so that you're free to then do what's next.
Right. Yeah. So that's my gratitude.
Okay, I like that one. Okay, the next question, what are you releasing? The thing that comes up for me is that it's related to something that came, I've been doing this craniosacral therapy a lot lately, and sometimes there's good questions or like messages that come through in the midst of it. And there was one session where the woman was like, there's just this sense of what if it could all be fine. And I was like, oh, that's like such an interesting question to pose. Like, what if I wasn't carrying around all of this like past life death in my body? What if I didn't have this tension and pain that was bothering me? What if life was just easy? And I think that what I realized was, for whatever reason, so much of the past, however long, I don't even know how long, probably my whole life, has been like, well, now there's this problem and that problem needs to be fixed. And now there's this problem and now let's address that. And okay, now let's like go down the list and let's fix these things. And asking the question of like, what if it was all just fine? Well, that's how it feels, very liberating. What if this
Mm.
all is fine? And I know they're like intellectually, I probably have been like, well, yeah, you just have to trust what is. But I know like actually in my body, I have held, just because of the craniosacral therapy sessions I've done and how many like past life deaths come up in that process. I'm like, I was not believing that this life was going to be just fine. It was like there was some part of my soul that came in and was like, you need to remember what can happen to you when you're in a body. Don't forget, because look what happens. And I'm realizing, sure, I brought that with me, but I can let it go. And I could really trust that maybe it won't happen in this life. Maybe this life I could just live, and maybe some bad things will happen too, but it could all be okay. And in the end, it's probably all going to be okay. That was really long winded. But basically, what that means I'm releasing is this sense that there's always something to fix. And this,
Mm.
what's the next thing on the list that I need to be directing my attention to make that better? And just like, I'm going to let go of that. I'm going to let go of the idea that there's always something to be fixed, and instead just start to believe that it's all fine. This is fine the way it is.
Okay, I love that because this reminds me of a clairvoyant session I had one time. I'm going to digress,
Tell me, please. Yes.
but also contribute at the same time. Okay, so I walked in, and the way that she just went, somewhere in the conversation, she was like, "So you will walk into a room." She's like, "I'm going to give you an example of how you are doing your life right now. You'll walk into a room, and you'll be like, it'll be a beautiful room, and there will be a spot on the wall where a picture used to hang, and it's left a little mark, and you'll be like, God, this room would be perfect if that spot wasn't there."
Oh my God, that's hard. That's a hard way to live. Okay.
Right? But at the time, she was like, "You are attracting in things that need to be fixed." Oh,
Mm,
I can fix that. I could fix that and make that perfect. But it's already a beautiful room.
hmm. Yeah.
It's just not perfect,
Well,
maybe.
and it's a beautiful room and it has a history. Like that little mark is like, oh, it has a history, you know?
Oh, it has a history.
It's lived a
And
little.
but it's funny how the thing that I was doing in my life at the time, and I don't know if I've completely released all that, is like looking for things that need to be fixed.
Well, and hasn't the universe given you lots of that too?
Oh, so much. But instead of just being like, this is fucking fabulous. What a
Yeah.
fabulous room to be in.
Yeah.
What a fabulous life to be in. And it really doesn't need to be fixed. It's okay that there's a spot on the wall. So that's what that reminded me of. Like,
Hmm.
okay, you don't have to fix it. You could just be in it.
I really do love that. The idea of also when that's what you're focusing on, that's what you're calling in more of, because I have been to these two different craniosacral therapists. And one, it was like, I got to a point where I was like, okay, enough. I have died on this table now 45 times. Like every time I'm here, I am dying. And I switched to this other woman, and their approach is so different. I think like the one woman, like that's what she thinks that work is. Like you're letting go of these karmic things that you're carrying with you. And so then of course that's what comes up on the table. And then the other woman is like, your body is just doing what it needs to do to heal. And so there may be some of those things that come up, but it's a much more expansive, forward moving approach than like, let's just deal with what happened in the past. Let's just fix these things in the past. It's no, it's like, what do you need to heal to move forward? And so while still some of those things do come up, there's so much more that the body then reveals and is seen, because it's not being asked to manifest just like, how'd you die the eighth time? How'd you die the 45th time? You know, like And I think that that notion in my life too, of like, what is the next thing to fix? What's next that needs to be tackled? Well, then you are always going to have something to be tackled, but you could also just be like, or I could just live.
Yes. Ditto.
Ditto. Same. Uh-uh. No, you have to come up with your own. That's what happens. If I go first, you can't take it.
I can't. Okay, I have to. Okay. Well, earlier this week we were talking about something that I guess it ties into being released, which is the idea that you don't die with any of the stuff you collect in life. I'm such a collector. I've always been very attached to like memories. Like I want to remember, and this little token of whatever helps me to remember this experience.
Mhm.
So there's lots of tokens everywhere. Um, and I do that a lot with pictures too. Like that's kind of my whole purpose with the photos originally was like, this will help me remember this story. But now I have this overwhelming amount of energy and things around me all the time.
Tokens. Yeah.
Lots of
Overwhelming
tokens.
amount of tokens. Yeah. Hmm.
And it does kind of prevent me from really being present, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but it's a like struggle for me to let go of so much stuff, to just like, I think even that concept of letting go. Like, what are you going to do with it, Kyla? Like, you're going to drag it with you through your whole life and then they're going to bury it in the ground with you?
You're gonna have a Egyptian tomb with all your
No,
stuff
that's
around
not
you.
happening. Maybe that's what I was in a past life. I'm like, no, it really does happen. Like, bring all of it, and then people can uncover it and they can guess how my life was.
Rocco will be mummied next to you.
I don't know, but yeah, that is so. I guess kind of releasing. It's funny. It's like makes me uncomfortable even talking
Mhm.
about releasing stuff.
I know
Like,
I can see it in
ugh, I
you.
don't. But I want to. Like this other part of me that's wanting to like, hey, I guess that's another thing we talked about is like it's short. Live it well, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And so I feel like all of the stuff has kind of bogged me down, but I do have attachments to it. So I guess I would like to release my attachment to stuff, even if it's like memory stuff. Like it's okay to release this. Like
Hmm.
you've had your experience with it and being okay with just taking whatever it is, like even if the memories kind of don't come or do come. Like I guess I would rather be present than be stuck in wondering, remembering. Was that weird?
No.
But I don't like fully believe that, but I'm kind of like, but I guess to move forward and have a more expansive experience in life, I do need to release some of these things.
You got to be lighter. Yeah, I do think that there
Lighter.
is. But I think there is also that piece in there. Again, it's like the trusting that the memories that are meant to resurface will. And in fact, you just yesterday were telling me that there's a person that you have their number memorized and you don't write it down. And you're like, well, if there's a day that I don't remember this, then that's the time for us to no longer speak. And that's like exactly what you're talking about.
Right. Like, yeah.
And you trust it for that.
But I don't also like, I think because my dad is kind of going through a releasing phase of his own life and he's really struggling with it. And another friend of mine who's had a death in her family and she's like looking at all of her stuff and she has these beautiful collections and they're organized and they're clean. And I'm like, but they're so beautiful. They are beautiful. It's like a museum in her house.
Hmm.
And she's like, I don't want it anymore. Like, I don't, it no longer brings me joy. And
Yeah.
I think I'm getting to that point with like all of this stuff everywhere. I don't know how much joy I'm getting out of having to sort all through this stuff. I'm definitely not getting joy out of having to sort through my dad's stuff. And so I don't want to leave that either for people. Like, I think in my head, I'm always like, I'm going to leave this for someone and they're going to treasure it like I do. But
No,
they don't.
they don't. Because it doesn't have their memories. It's not a memory for them. It's just a thing.
Right. And I think that's the part of maybe the energy that things hold is I just get so attached to the beauty of the energy that things hold. Like I have this unicorn statue. Somebody made that out of bronze. And it was just at a thrift shop for $6 or whatever it was. And it made me so happy.
Huh.
But
Yeah.
it's like the part of me that likes to collect is like, I must have that. And I definitely was having if it's only $6.
Someone else must have thought that at some point about that unicorn. And then they got to a point where they were like, actually, now this is just a thing that's in my house. I'm going to give it to the thrift store. And then you found it. And now you're at a point where it's like, okay, well, now this is just something I have to figure out what to do with, although you probably still find it
I'm keeping
beautiful.
that. I'm keeping that
Okay, well,
unicorn.
okay, don't use
But
that as an example.
but
But but then there is also something to be said about sharing the experience of that beauty with the things by like putting them back into the world. Just like the flow of money, if you're like hoarding it, there it stops the flow of the energy. Whereas if you're using it, then more is coming to you. And so I think it's like opening it
right.
up to be like, if I give this out, more beautiful things will find me that are right for me at this moment in time.
No, I like that. But isn't it interesting, maybe like a little bit of a human condition, how attached we are to our things, like, and to
Yes.
like gathering more things and
Yes.
more, and that it's like a symbol. The more things you have, as
Yeah,
long
it's
as you're
like a
not a hoarder,
status symbol.
it
I know,
becomes a status symbol. Yeah.
I know. Although this is one that I don't really resonate with because I sold everything I owned and moved into an RV. So I like really like getting rid of stuff. Even just the other day, Paul was like, I'm at the point where I want us to pretend like we're moving again and just throw things away. And I was like, yeah, I feel that way too.
What can we get rid of in this house?
That's exactly.
Um, it would be a lot less cluttered if less people lived here.
Let's get rid of the dog, maybe one child. Um,
And all the things that come with them.
have you ever heard of Swedish death cleaning?
No.
Oh, so I think it ties into this because I think you're also reaching a point in life, like an age in life where that philosophy applies. So Swedish death cleaning basically says like the first half of your life is often spent acquiring things and building things and making things, gathering things because you're having kids, you're making your home, all of that. And then the second half of your life, that is the time where you spend getting rid of those things so that when you die, you're not leaving a bunch of stuff for other people to then have this burden that they have to figure out what to do with. And so I think there probably is within that like a natural ebb and flow of like, yeah, I have acquired all this stuff and look at all this stuff I have. And now I'm at a point where actually it would feel good to be lighter and know that I'm not continuing to just accumulate stuff that then somebody else is going to have to deal with at some point down the line.
Okay, but then I have to throw in, like, I had a grandmother
Mm-hmm.
who, when she walked, she'd have these bracelets on that had all these gold coins, like real gold coins. And you could hear her
Mm-hmm.
walking in. This is my great grandmother. I
Mm-hmm.
never met her. She was dead. But she also did all this costume jewelry. And there's been so many times I've been fantasizing about why did they get rid of all that jewelry? I got left with a gold coin, which is really nice. But just imagine a whole bracelet and you just hear her like coming in. And imagine how fabulous she must have been,
She must have been so fabulous. Yes.
right? My
Yeah.
pictures of her are like I think the story goes like she died in high heels in her kitchen, like calling probably the ambulance, and she was in heels at whatever age she was. She's like, oh nope,
Fabulous.
I'm out. You're not gonna be here in time. Do something good with my shoes. Like
Leave these
what?
on me. These are what I want to go in.
Bury me in these shoes and all of my, what else do I have here? Actually, give it away. And then I'm like, what did she have? Like they went through her costume and then they like took a ring and like redid it. So because it was too extravagant. And I'm like, what? I want to see the extravagant ring. Like that's the part where I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. That would have been fun for me to like to
Yeah.
my great grandmother. And then I wonder, like, what are people? My kids are probably not even gonna. Maybe they'll have a girl. Maybe I'll have a granddaughter or a great granddaughter that will be like, "What was she like? Where's her stuff? Why didn't you guys bury her with more stuff?"
And I want it all. Let me go visit her tomb and see her things.
I mean, I feel like we should flash a little photo of my great grandmother because she was I didn't know her. Sometimes, like, I'm probably channeling her right now. She's like, wait, don't get rid of it all. Because trust me, you're gonna have a great great granddaughter that's gonna want to know about you. And you do have some fun stuff like that unicorn. Hold on to that unicorn. Pass it down.
Don't get rid of that unicorn, Kyla.
Don't get rid of that
Don't
unicorn.
do it. Don't do it.
No.
Yeah, okay, so it seems a little wishy-washy. You're a little wishy-washy on this letting go of things.
Right, I am, but I think okay, I can hold on to some stuff. That's
I
all.
think that's the thing is that I feel like you have to get rid of everything. And I don't. You don't. I think that the beauty of going through with an eye for like which of these things do I really, really want and love so much? And I think you probably do have a lot more than I would have if I did that process. But
You would have like two things,
I mean, I don't even
maybe three. You're like, this box of Oracle cards I still use.
the hardest thing. No, you know what it was for me when we moved from Durango was my plants.
Oh yeah.
That was the one where I cried. One plant I cried giving it away and I was like this is the hardest thing for me to leave. And I mean people too. I cried about people as well, but like in terms of things, it was plants.
You gave me some. They're thriving, by the way.
I know. I'm sure they
That money
are.
plant is generating so much money in my office right now.
Yeah.
The money tree. Yeah.
But even that, it was like, oh, I get to find people who I know are going to take good care of this and appreciate it and like have the right spot in their house for it or like in that many ways it was also this act of giving that you end up doing as you're getting rid of your stuff because the things you really care about but you're like but I also really can't take this then you're like oh who am I giving it to. I mean a lot of stuff I just am like I'm throwing it away but the important stuff
Okay. All right. Good. Like I got to give stuff away.
yeah.
Next question.
Third question is what are you calling in? So for me, these all sort of tie together because it's like, okay, there's more stability in my life, which I'm very thankful for. I'm going to let go of the sense of like, well, what's the next thing to fix? And then what I want to call in now is my like full soul's purpose here on earth. I think what it feels like for me is that the past few years have been this purging, this big transitions, big changes, like cleaning up karmic stuff and all of this and finding some stability in life. And now I have this very real sense that my soul is like, and now let's like rock and roll. Can we go? Can we do the thing that we are meant to do here and like really live it in this committed, enthusiastic way? Because as I've said many times, like there's been a long period of my life where I felt very uncommitted to this earthly life. And I think in all the shedding that I've been doing lately of energetically and also like physically stuff, there is this reminder of like you're here on this earth. You don't have a lot of time. Like, make use of it. And so I'm calling in my full soul's participation in this earthly life.
Okay.
Ditto.
I, I love that for you. For a minute, I was like, oh, this is a good ditto, but I don't think mine is the same. Well, I really think my purpose is to experience joy and spread it. But, and no buts. And when I am out of balance, it's very hard for me to access joy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think my uh I'm calling in like some balance, which might be a while before I feel that way, or like maybe calling in finding the balance in the chaos or something. I think we talked about this in an earlier podcast, but one of my clairvoyant sessions, they said this lifetime is really about finding balance for you. Like you kind
Mm,
of do this extreme thing. And I do
you do
do it.
a little
I
bit,
do. I
just a
do.
little.
I would like to release that extreme thing and call in some balance. So,
I like
because I
that.
think that will lead more towards what I'm supposed to be here for, which is experiencing joy and
Yeah.
other things and experiencing balance. Like, even just the idea of balance is like, oh, that's a thing. People are balanced. Wow.
That's like my favorite state of being is balance. That is what I love more than anything. I think that that is such uh, a good thing to call in for you. And I also think that there is an opportunity here for you to also like be in conversation with the universe. And because here's why you're very good at manifesting what you want. And I think you've been like, your soul knows that you've got to like make all these changes to open up what's coming next for you. And so the universe is like, that's what you want. We'll give it to you. You asked for it. Here we go. And I think that there's an opportunity for you to have more conversations with the universe and be like, this is what I want. And I need it at a little slower pace. Like, I need it to feel a little less intense because the universe will respond to that and they may not know.
You're like, she can handle it. She can handle it. She's done it before.
You can handle it, but I think if you say like, but actually, and that's part of what this is, like by calling in balance, it's like saying to the universe, like, I do want all this, and I also want to feel a little less intense every single day.
Yeah. And I'd like more sleep.
Call in more sleep. Yeah. Uh-huh. We're
Yeah.
tired
We're
today.
tired. Tired.
We're doing the best we can. I mean, I think that's all really great. And I think that again, so the questions are, what are you grateful for? What are you releasing? And what are you calling in? So if you're on the cusp of some great change, some transition, if it's a new moon and you want to manifest something new, just spend a minute taking those questions and working through them.
And those are good questions for any new moon at any point.
Any new moon. Yep.
Yeah.
Because that's the point in the moon cycle where you want to be manifesting at the new moon.
Right.
And then it comes to fruition at the full moon, and then you go back to the new moon. That is all I have to say.
That is it. Okay. I don't think I'm going to exit the vortex today, so
Stay in that vortex and hitch that.
get your wagon to a rainbow.
I could not remember the word. Hitch your wagon to a rainbow. All right.
Have a great day.
You too.